His messages of unity and us being together is something that we need right now. We need to understand each other, we need to respect each other, and we need to love each other. We've all experienced some type of hate, and hate cannot drive out hate. The only thing that can drive out hate is love.
You know, to live in a society today where you see, what he dreamed about, what his vision was, just a role model to everyone, to have somebody to look up to say he did it for us.
Dr. Martin Luther King always spoke about content of character, and that's something that always hits home. We have a group, a team, a family full of guys that have really strong character and serve the community well, and I think as athletes we can get a positive message across.
He was a peaceful protester, and it's hard for us to find that value in that with everything that's going on. But we got to continue on with what he started out for us.
Especially with what's going on in the world we live in today, he's a person that I think everyone should be thankful for what he stood for, what he fought for, what he gave his life for.
His message is even probably more important now because we feel like we've come a long way, but we still have, so much to go. And it's leaders like him that is one of the reasons why I'm able to stand up for what I believe in and be a voice for others.
Special day in the country, special day for the NBA, and a busy one on NBA TV through TNT, beginning with Hawks Knicks, Magic Nuggets, the big boy Cavs and Warriors, and then Mr. Triple-Double Russell Westbrook against Chris Paul and the Clippers. It'll all begin with the Hawks and the Knicks, and man, there's a lot of head scratching. I mean, we sit here, let's start on the Atlanta side where they traded Kyle Korver. We're like, okay, are they rebuilding? Are they not? Millsap was on the block. Then he's off the block. So who are the Hawks, and will they please stand up? How do you explain them?
They're trying to figure it out, I think, a little bit, too. The Millsap piece, the way they've handled that, really kind of doesn't make sense, putting him out there like that. He's too good of a player. And there's a lot of teams, I think, that would want his services. You look at the team. Horford's gone, Teague is gone, Korver's gone, and they're still winning some basketball games. They had a tough loss last night at home to the Celtics, fought their way back, not good enough. Obviously, Dwight Howard in the middle, but I think the Hawks are still trying to figure out how they can get this team to the next step. But really, I mean, they're playing good basketball, so it's tough with all this trade stuff going on.
And they got Sam, a young point guard, and I don't think we really understand what that means or how difficult that is. I know we'd like to see him maybe not hold the ball as long at times, but overall, I think Schroeder's played pretty well.
Well, he has. You look at some of these games, and since they've been winning, he's been one of their most consistent players when you're talking about scoring. And people can say what they want. Today's point guards have to score. They got to not only set the team up, play defense, but they got to put the ball in the basket. And Dennis Schroeder is coming along very nicely in his development. And you look at this Hawks team. 3 weeks ago, they were struggling. Right. They wanted to blow this thing up. Right. And then all of a sudden they win 7 out of 8 or 7 in a row. And now they're sitting there in the third spot saying, wait a minute, or fourth spot saying, wait a minute.
We're not that bad.
Cleveland is starting to struggle a little bit. They don't look as that team that's sitting on the shiny hill that's unbeatable. Golden State done had some bad losses. So if you're the Hawks, you just got to sit back and be in position because Kyrie Irving has a history of injuries. Kevin Love has missed some games too. And without one or two of those guys, you have a chance. And it's going to come down when the playoff starts, you can say whatever you want. The team that's the most healthy, those are the teams that have a better chance to advance because if one of your star players are out, it's difficult to win in a 7-game series.
I just wanted the Knicks fans to feel like it's Christmas, so we don't talk about what's gone on with them since they were 16 and 13. Let's talk about Christmas because Christmas Day, Kyrie, the great closer that he is, put a bow, even if it was controversial to some at the end of the game, on what was a dandy round one. 4 straight now, going back to the finals. They outscored them 29-14 in the comeback win. Ding, 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 round 2. Mills Lane were here. God bless him. He'd say, let's get it on. Sam, what are you looking forward to most here in the second installment?
Well, I want to see if Cleveland's going to come out and continue the dominance of Golden State and how Golden State is going to react. They've now lost 4 games in a row. Would you ever have thought with this team after 73 wins last year, could you point to any team and say beat this team 4 games in a row? So right now, Cleveland has an opportunity to keep sticking that in Golden State head. Hey, we can beat you, and they're going to need to do that because if you look at the season and how things are going, Cleveland probably not going to have the best record in the NBA because they're not built that way, but Golden State will. So Cleveland understands they're going to have to go in Golden State if they meet them in the finals and win a game again on that floor. And if I'm going into that series and I beat you 5 in a row, I have a huge advantage because I don't care who you are. When a team has beat you like that and then beat you 3 in a row in the finals, something no one has ever done, it's in your head. It has to be.
You know, Vinny, I know it's about the team and they have multiple options, and KD, especially with the defense, has been the best player in the team. But you got a 2-time MVP in Steph, who, whether it was because of health or he didn't play well down the stretch of the finals. Do we need to see a big game? Does he need to come out with one of these Steph Curry games to help beat the Cavaliers, put back in his own mind, hey, look, I know LeBron's on the other side, but don't forget who I am over here?
I think he does have to play well. I mean, they're not going to win a championship if he doesn't play at a high level. The biggest thing is now maybe defensively he's on the court at the end of the game because he maybe can stay with Korver. You know, so there's a lot of things going on. But right now, I think like Sam just said, at the end of the day, the confidence of kind of losing 4 straight, the Warriors kind of need this game. They have to finish the game out. They were up 14 points in that game, and they let that one slip away. That would hurt them a little bit. They're going to have to protect their home court. They're going to have the best record in the league. But at the end of the day, can Cleveland physically control the tempo by rebounding and by controlling the Golden State Warriors from the 3-point line? We know Durant, we know Clay, we know Curry are going to make shots, but in the biggest moments in the fourth, what's their execution going to be?
Think about what Cleveland has done to Golden State. They got Steve Kerr. Look, Steph Curry was on the bench.
That's right.
On that play, and he's talked about, I should be in the game. I want to be in the game. And look, I understand why Steve Kerr did it. You got 6, 7 guys, Sean Livingston. You got guys with size and athleticism and length to put on the floor for a defensive stop. But still, this is a reigning 2-time MVP that's sitting on the bench. And if you're Tyronn Lue, you're saying to Steve Kerr, okay, if the game comes down to the end and we have the ball, who's going to be on the floor for you? Because what you're trying to do as a coach mentally, I want to drive a little wedge. I want to put a little doubt in Steve Kerr's mind, Steph Curry's mind, and the Golden State Warriors. Who are you going to have on the floor if we have the ball and have a chance to win the game? Who's going to be your 5 guys? Because in this game, this all goes back to come playoff time, if these guys meet in the finals, you just got that little nugget in Steve Kerr's mind. What does he do then? Because he put his best defense out there last time and it didn't work.
Don't forget this, Aid, going back to what Vinny said, the offensive execution late in games has not been good.
Right.
And Draymond Green, after they lost that game, the worst loss of their season, which wasn't this game, it was against Memphis, where they blew a 24-point lead. What did he say? And I buy in with it. He said, I'm glad we lost. Because we've played terribly in fourth quarters, but we keep winning. Now maybe we learn. They had a problem, Vinny, in that game because it came down to not knowing where to go to the ball. Durant went back into Oklahoma City Thunder mode. They wanted to run a play. I'm curious to see if it gets close down the stretch, not just the defense, but offensively. How do they handle these moments?
I think close games for Golden State are very important. They just don't have a lot of them because they're so talented, can score the basketball. But in the biggest moments, what's their execution going to be like against Cleveland, against San Antonio, against the best teams in the league? And that's what Steve wants to see. How are we going to tough it out? What's the body language going to be like when the jump shots aren't going in? Are we going to rebound the ball and take care of our turnovers and make the easy pass? We know they can score. They just don't have a lot of close games because they're just so explosive offensively.
What did the Miami Heat have to learn to do when LeBron James joined with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade? How to finish, but they had to come to some type of...
And where to finish.
They had to come to some type of conclusion as who's the best player, who got pecking order.
That's right.
Right now, Golden State has set the pecking order. And look, whether it's Steph and Durant or whether it's Clay, however you want to do it, those guys, those 4 guys, the 4 stars, got to sit down and say, look, in the guts of a game, at the end of the game, we're going to run our offense through Kevin Durant, Steph, Clay, whoever that's going to be. But those guys are going to have to decide because as a coach, you don't want to put that on Steve Kerr. You don't want him to have to make the decision. You want these 4 guys to come together and say, look, for the betterment of our team and that's going to give us the best chance to win a championship, this is the pecking order when it comes to possessions late in the game. And they have to settle that among themselves.